Good afternoon and greetings from Chicago. Welcome to our annual webinar in the Exhibitor Marketing Kit. We're really excited to share the 2026 opportunities with you to help you maximize your exposure at the upcoming Inspired Home Show. I'm Nancy Michael. I lead the sales team here at IHA, and alongside me is my colleague Rachel Crippin Clark. She's our manager of public relations and communications. And today, we're going to take you through a comprehensive overview of the kit. So you can see the agenda up on your screen and teach you how to take full advantage of these resources. Please use your Q&A function during the webinar, and we'll do our best to answer all of your questions. You can always contact Rachel or myself, and we'll be happy to work one-on-one with you with any questions you may have as well. Before we get going into the Exhibitor Marketing Kit, I do have a few housekeeping items I want to go through really quick. We'll start with the show days. So we're a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday pattern. This is very new for us. It was received very, very positively by both buyer and exhibitor. So we're really excited for this 3-day pattern. I will tell you, I'm waking up in the middle of the night thinking people are going to show up on Saturday or Sunday to start the show. So please just make sure you and your staff are all aware of this new day pattern. Okay, starting with some housekeeping. I'm going to get to this slide in a minute. I want to start with the Freeman webinar. We did a Freeman webinar on November 20th. It was very well received. It was a lot of information. If you did not attend that, I highly encourage you to make sure you go listen to it. The key with Freeman is planning. You got to know your deadlines. You got to know when prices are going to go up. So I would encourage you all to go listen to that. You can find that recorded webinar at housewares.org. And you can go to the education tab. Under the education tab, hit webinar, and you're looking for the webinar that says Exhibitor Show Services Webinar. There's lots of cost saving tips in there. Highly encourage you. Knowing how to work with Freeman is just a huge part of the show, and you can mitigate a lot of headache by planning. Okay, so housing is open. Our official housing provider is on peak. The early bird deadline will be cut off December 31st. I really, really encourage you to go book in the block. There's great cancellation policies with that. So get your hotel set. If you need to make a change, most of them are 72 hours. But definitely check that as you're making your reservations. Okay, badge registration. We're a little behind. It's coming soon. We should have it open really very early January, and then you can start registering for your badges. You do have to be active and placed in order for that to happen, and you'll see the badge registration tile on your exhibitor portal, and that's where you go put in your information. Then we've got our power hour. So the show this year will run Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. As we talked, Tuesday and Wednesday, the show will extend the end of the day from 5:30 to 6:30. You can use that to set appointments, or if you've got meetings already, they're not going to start shuffling people off the floor until 6:30 on those days. But then on Thursday, we will close at 4:30 for pack up. This 4:30 time was discussed at length with both exhibitors and buyers, and that is what everybody wanted. Okay. Next, we've got our ESK. Before I get into exhibitor warnings, the ESK is our services kit, and that is live. So you can start getting your Freeman forms and whatnot. All the things you need operationally to plan the show is in that ESK. Exhibitor warnings. I bring these up because these guys are poachers, and there's 3 of them we kind of call out. The first one is this buyer media list. As active and placed and paid exhibitors, at the end of the show, you are going to receive an April scrubbed registration list from the 2026 show. This is going to give you all the buyer information: name, title, company, address, fax, phone. We do not give emails. Why don't you give emails? Because the buyers have asked us not to. And now with all the regulations in other countries, we have to stay away from it. If you're savvy, you can usually figure it out. So buyer lists, you already got from us. Media lists, Rachel's going to get into that. You get several chances to start working with that earlier. Right now in your portal, you've got the 2025 registered buyer list. So you can start reaching out, marketing reach out for the 26 show. And that kind of brings us to warnings. So that fair guide is the other one we call out, which is, I don't even know. These used to come in the mail, and if you signed it, you were on the hook for like a $3,000 bill. I'm assuming they're doing it digitally. I haven't heard or seen this one in a while, but I kind of think it still exists. It's like a global directory. So just beware. And then I did want to mention there's hotel poachers too on peak. If it's not coming from on peak, then I would stay away from it. Okay, so now I'm going to just kind of show you guys how to access the Exhibitor Marketing Kit. And you're going to get into www.theinspiredhomeshow.com. And under this exhibit tab, there's a lot of things in here, but I'm going to take right where I want you to, which is the marketing kit. But other things to note in this exhibit tab, you've got a link to your Connect 365. You've got exhibitor warnings that we just went through. And you've got your services kit. That's your exhibitor services kit right there. And I also want to point out, there's one of two ways to get to the sponsorship document. Here's one. I'm going to show you the other right now. Oops. So this first line here, if you will, these are just kind of a quick, like if you want to get into the attract buyer section right away, if you hit that, it'll take you there. The thing I really want to point out here is sponsorship, because this is the other place you can access it. So sponsorship, there's only really two locations. This is one, the other one I just showed you on the drop down. Okay, Connect 365. Connect 365 is our digital directory. If you are a returning exhibitor, you know that we are very active, making sure that our exhibitors are populating their profiles. We use media use this, buyers use this, and marketing uses this. Rachel, do you want to talk a little bit about how your media uses this really quick?
Well, we can get into media at that point, but I would like to point out that the IHA staff uses this directory throughout the year. Definitely is certainly at showtime and in the months leading up to the show, but after the show, throughout the year, we are relying heavily on products and images that are in 365 for the marketing outreach that we're doing. So I definitely encourage you not only to populate your profile in the months leading up to the show, but to keep up with it throughout the year as well.
Definitely. And usually we'll do a calling campaign to make sure. I will tell you, go in there and look at your exhibitor profile. A lot of times this gets left to the wayside. There's catalogs up there from 5 years ago in some of these profile pages. So you definitely want to get your new products up there. However, I will warn you, this is a public site. Your competitors are on it. So I would not post anything if you have intellectual property and you don't want people to see new items. Save that for the show and use that in your marketing outreach to your buyers. Okay. Again, you access Connect 365 through your portal, and that's a lot through this kit. So you're going to need your credentials to get into your USI. Okay, next we're going to deadlines. Okay, so this is a great at a glance what I need to get done. You can see right now the first one's coming up, 12/18, and that's the early bird discount rate deadline for a lead retrieval unit. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. Why or why not you shouldn't do lead retrieval. But note the deadline, because you want to take advantage of all these discounted prices. I mean, if you wait till the last minute, you're paying premium. Okay, so just take a look at this. When I get to talking about new product showcase, I'm just going to point out now, and we'll go through it. You've got 2 dates. You've got a 1:30 date for GIA product design entries, and you've got a 2/6 date for new product showcase. That means nothing to you at this moment, but when we go through it, I will take you in detail. Okay. So we're going to start with attract buyers. Like I said, I'm not going to go into a deep dive on all this. I'm going to leave that for you, and any questions you find you have as you're going through the kit, please reach out to me and I'll take you to whatever you need. Okay, first tile, buyer registration lists. So this is basically your lists are up from 2025. You can start using those to market, and then come April of 26, the new lists will be put up for your use. Independent retailers. So we've done a lot of work on the independent retailer side for several years now. We have a dedicated salesperson, our road warrior, Deborah, who's on this road, I don't know, most of the year. She's already met in face, person to person, with 1,200 independent retail outlets in 14 states. We have the independents. If you have an independent retailer that you are certain isn't attending the show, or you want to know if they attend the show, I can put you in touch with Deborah. She will also go recruit anybody you tell her to. If there's an independent in your that you want to come to the show, she'll do an outreach and talk to them about all the benefits of coming to the show. So that is definitely a program available to you, and you just need to touch base with me on anybody you want us to actively pursue. Okay, lead retrieval. So there's some thoughts on lead retrieval. I'm an industry person. I've been on the other side for many years. And what's the big problem with lead retrieval? It's a great service, and it's a great, particularly now the technology on these things is amazing. You could use your phone sometimes to scan. There's lots of different options in there. But here's the big rub with lead retrieval. It's worth the spend. It's worth the investment as long as you have a plan to follow up on those leads. Because if you've ever read anything on these, that's the downfall. Everybody loves them. You're cooking at the show. You're taking leads. You get back to your office. You have a mountain of work, a follow-up to do for your orders or whatnot. And then all those leads, all those basically business card exchanges have gone by the wayside. Now, the other perk about lead retrieval is email. Because it's considered a business card exchange, we're including emails on that in capturing the information of your buyers. So that's a good reason to have it. But again, if you don't have a plan on follow-up, then the investment's not worth it. So make a plan, work your plan, and this lead retrieval service could be a big part of your follow-up. Okay, in-booth special events. Rachel's going to get a little bit more in-depth in this in her section, because this is for obviously all attendees, buyers, media. You access this form through Connect 365. I'm just going to tell you how it works. You can put in your special event. You could do that now, but we won't post this information until about 5 weeks before the show. So sometime in mid to late January, it'll go live on the website and we'll market that. And attendees then can kind of look at it and see what they want to attend. Okay. Now we're going to get into some product display information. Oh, sorry, I skipped shuttle bus. Shuttle bus advertising, if you click in there, it's basically just things you can do with the shuttle buses. We provide many shuttle buses from all of the hotels going to McCormick Place. It's a captive audience. You kind of can do some target marketing with if you so desire. The rates and everything are on. Once you go into the tile, you'll see everything you can access. Okay, product visibility. So these are displays, opportunities. You'll see there's 3 on there. 2 of them are free. There's a process, though. It doesn't mean you're automatically accepted into either, but they're both free. And New Product Showcase GIA is a pay-to-play. And there's a lot that goes into the New Product Showcase GIA award process. So remember I told you about those 2 dates? The first date of 1:30 is the deadline to submit product if you want to be eligible for a GIA award, Global Innovation Award. It's our program. We've celebrated 25 years this year in 2025, but we did that at the last show. It's a very prominent award. I see them all over the world in my travels. People bring them to trade shows globally to show that they are a GIA winner. They'll put the logo on their backdrop. It's a coveted award. The great thing about this New Product Showcase GIA Award, okay, first of all, these displays are set up in the buyers clubs. There's buyer clubs in each hall. You cannot access the buyer club. The only people that can access the buyer clubs are media and registered buyers. You're going to go and like, I need to sell my product a certain way. And they're going to tell you, sorry, you can't come in here. It's not for exhibitors. And the reason we do that is to protect the intellectual property of your new products. No exhibitors are allowed in there, period. We have our own merchandisers who do it. When they set that up, they put a QR code or a scan code next to each product that has all your information. When buyers go into the buyer club, they're handed a scan gun. They scan what the products they want to go see or are interested in. When they leave the buyers club, they are given a printout of all the companies they scanned with the booth number. Now, at the close of show, you're looking at April because all that data has to be scrubbed. You will receive in an email from the reg company a list of every customer that scanned your products and their email address. So you can do your follow-up and reach out to those people who are interested in your product. It's a great program. It's been in existence for a long time. It's very successful. It is a pay-to-play. There's a member rate and non-member rate. You can reach out to Connie Chantos. Her information is once you go into that link. If you've got any questions, you may be asking yourself what defines a new product, and I'm going to let Rachel address that in her presentation, so you'll know exactly what you can do. But you can always call Connie, and she will let you know if it's acceptable or not. Okay, next on this list is the Pantone Color Watch display. This is a free opportunity. However, it is run by Pantone. We have been with Pantone for decades. This display is beautiful if you've never seen it. You need to go into this link. You need to read all the instructions. It's pretty lengthy. There's a process. You have to first request the confidential color palettes so you know if you've got product that even will work with what they're looking for. Then you will send catalogs if you want to participate, and then they will decide if they will select your company or products from your catalogs. It's very comprehensive. It's a great display. There's no reason why anybody shouldn't try to get into it. So I encourage you all to do that one. And again, News Center, I'm going to let Rachel cover because that is her domain, but that's another great opportunity. Okay, in-booth signage. All of this signage is free. New for the home is probably the most important one, other than no photography, which I'll get into in a minute. Buyers are coming to the show to see new. Media is coming to the show to see and learn and talk about new. The new for the home, if you select them in this sheet that you would have to fill out here, you'll get 2 of those signs. However, your floor manager desks have unlimited. So if you have 50 new products and you want to put a little sign by each, which I don't recommend, but you can go get what you need in terms of new for the home. Anything else you sign up for, you will get delivered 1 to 2, depending on what it is. If you are a Pantone Color Watch in the display, you will also get Pantone Color Watch signs that will happen automatically. So you can let people know that your products are in that display as well. I do want to talk about no photography. These signs to me are the most important because everyone has a phone and everyone wants to take pictures of your intellectual property. So with that in mind, you really need to be kind of on guard. If you don't want things photographed, if you don't want particularly new products, I would not keep new products on the perimeter of your booth because people will stand in the aisle and take pictures of it. You just really need to kind of be conscious of this and on guard. And those no photography signs, if you have them, at least whoever might be wanting to photograph knows that you're aware that photography is an issue in our industry. Okay, before we get into attract media, I don't know if I covered ESK. So if you haven't, the ESK is live now. I did cover this in the beginning, but I'm going to cover it again because it's a lot of work, this ESK, because you've got to get all your Freeman ordered, all of that. Again, the deadline dates. Okay, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rachel, and she's going to take you through all the media information.
All right. Thank you, Nancy. Just before we get started, I just want to give a little bit of context. The media opportunities we're going to talk about today kind of fall into two categories. One is resources that we provide to you so that you can do your own media outreach. And the other is ways that you can get involved with what we as a show are doing for media, whether that's pitching, to get them to attend, the segments we're putting together, or services that we're providing to media professionals. And you'll see that some of them serve kind of both purposes, but I just wanted to start that out. The show has a dedicated PR team who works with us in the months leading up to the show to attract media to attend, to assist them with story angles, products, and exhibitor contacts, as well as working with them on site and post-show to help them put together segments and stories. A wide variety of media professionals attend, including traditional media in print, broadcast, and the digital space, as well as social media influencers, podcast hosts, etc. All editorial media wear blue badges at the show, so you'll be able to recognize them, and they fall into four categories: consumer media, trade media, bloggers, which really kind of includes freelancers in the digital space, whether they are actually posting blogs, they might be podcast hosts, people with Substack publications, and then social media influencers. In terms of coverage, the 2025 show generated 800 million impressions across all these different media people who attended. And before I dive into these specific opportunities, I just want to say that we realize that exhibiting companies vary in terms of your size, your budget, and your experience with the show. So there's a variety of opportunities here, a menu, so to speak. But all of the opportunities I'm going to talk about here that have to do with attracting media attention, all are free for exhibitors to participate in. They're completely free for you, and they're completely free for attending media to take advantage of. So definitely think about these and think which ones that you can take advantage of. And one last note, if you are a show contact, but someone who's not specifically charged with marketing or PR outreach, please make sure you share this kit with your PR person, whether that's a staff person, an agency, or a freelance independent contractor that you might use for the show. And I would also encourage them to watch this recording. So starting off, I will just start here with the first tile, which is in-booth special events. And Nancy did mention this earlier. And we'll see it under the buyer section as well as the media section, because obviously special events will attract both of these different kinds of attendees. But a few things from a media perspective, certainly a celebrity is going to attract attention. But if you are somebody that doesn't have the budget for a celebrity, doesn't have access to somebody, don't think that this is something that you should rule out. Any kind of a special event that's going to attract attention is something to consider, something that's interactive, lively, special access. It could be a tasting, a product demonstration. Maybe it's a meet and greet with one of your company's executives or a product designer who could tell a backstory about, what inspired them to create this product and what went into it. It could be a photo op with a character or a mascot. Just be creative. There are 3 ways that we can help you promote these. One is through Connect 365, which Nancy mentioned earlier, our online show directory. We also have a message board in the News Center where we'll post daily announcements about what people have going on in their booths, and then also using our pre-registered media list to reach out to media professionals directly. I'll get to that in a minute. But I would say that our show PR team also relies heavily on these listings in Connect 365 when they're preparing media tours or escorting TV crews around the show floor. So the next tile here is the media registration list. And right now, any 2026 exhibitor who is active in place can access the list of media from the 2025 show. Those lists can be found on your exhibitor portal. And just a note, if you are a PR person who maybe does not have those access to the portal, you can just work with your client or your main show contact to either, if they're willing to share their login, or they can just download the list for you. It's an Excel document that's easily downloadable. In mid-February, we will take down this list and post a list of media who are pre-registered so far for the 2026 show. There will be the same process for accessing it. I will say that a good number of people, we have seen a trend of registering in the days leading up to the show, and even on site. We get a good number of people on site. So keep that in mind when you see that list in mid-February. But we will post a final registration list again about 2 weeks after the show. Takes a little time to clean up the data and vet it and make sure everything is finalized and in good working order. We absolutely encourage you to follow up with the people you saw, and also ones that you might see on the list that you think might be interested in what you have to promote. This list does include email addresses for journalists. They are given the option to opt in to having their email address shared when they register. With that said, I would advise you to be thoughtful about who you're reaching out to and how often, and not to go overboard on a lot of mass email distributions. We would like to continue to offer this service to exhibitors and not have a lot of journalists opting out because they're getting weighed down by too many emails. So the next item here is about our show news center. And this is the first place that bloggers, social media influencers, and news media will go. They have to pick up their badges here, but it's also a central communications area for them throughout the show. We offer a lot of amenities. There's a studio and a backdrop for shooting video or live shots. We have workstations, charging stations, and a lounge area. There's a daily continental breakfast and lunch. Outside of the front lobby area, this news center is only accessible to registered media. So keep that in mind as I highlight a few areas that you can take advantage of in the news center. The first is our press kit display area, and this is one of 2 ways we offer to share press materials. I got a lot of questions last year about what format to use. Should you be doing a traditional press kit in a folder? And the answer is there is no right or wrong way to provide press materials. Honestly, it runs the gamut. We get a lot of people who do it a lot of different ways. There might be a traditional press kit. It might just be a 1-page press release. Some people do just even a postcard size flyer. Some people do their sales catalogs or USB drives. Whatever option you choose, I would make sure you have 3 things prominently featured: your company name, your booth number, and your PR contact information. And that might sound obvious, but if you're someone who chooses to put some sales sheets or a sales catalog in there, you might not necessarily have your booth number here at the Inspired Home Show on that material. You might have a sales director as opposed to your PR contact. information on there. So just keep that in mind. A lot of times, some people, if your company name is different from what brand it is that you're promoting, that just makes it a whole lot easier and more self-explanatory for media who are looking and can connect what exhibitor name is in what booth number with what brands. I also recommend, so all of these materials in whatever format you choose are displayed in clear acrylic bins along the wall in alphabetical order. So with that in mind, I recommend, using something that's colorful. It doesn't have to be fancy, but, a little color, some imagery on it, and a QR code so that people can scan it to access your materials online. And in fact, that's a good segue into saying that a lot of people use this area to what I call shop for the booths that they want to visit. They'll just walk through and pull things out of the bins and take a look, flip through it. And so many of them don't actually take a physical kit with them, although we do offer the option for those who request it that we will ship any press materials for them back to their home or office. A lot of people just jot down, they'll look around, find some people they want to see, and they'll jot down some booth numbers. They might add you to the list they're keeping in Connect 365. They might just scan your QR code so they have it in their files for safekeeping. So that's why we only recommend sending 50 press material items, whatever they are. There is information on here about how to get those materials to us, either in terms of shipping them to McCormick Place or delivering them by hand. Just one note about shipping. We do recommend that you only use FedEx or UPS. There have been some issues with DHL and the U.S. Post Office getting materials to the right place at the right time during the show. The next place in the news center that I'd like to talk about is our product room. And Nancy did mention this earlier as one of the 3 places where you can submit products to be displayed at the show. And this is a small curated display of new products that media can get a sneak peek of before they hit the show floor. Products in this room represent only a small sample of the show's new products and will be selected by the show PR team based on trends, uniqueness, and the types of media requests they're getting pre-show. If you'd like to submit a product for consideration, please fill out the submission form. The due date for that is February 16th. Our team will review all submissions, and you'll be contacted if your product is selected for display. Just one more thing in the news center. I mentioned briefly earlier, but we do have an old school message board, bulletin board in the front of the news center where you can post just a basic, flyer type size announcement about what special events you have going on in your booth. It's just another way. It's a very visible area, and media, as they're coming in and out throughout the day, will take a quick look just to see, who and when they should be stopping by your booth. So the next item that I'd like to talk about is the new product listings. And Nancy did mention this earlier, the new product listings in your Connect 365 profile. This is a search that is accessible to all news media buyers and anyone visiting the site. It is a heavily trafficked search, and it's also used a lot by our show PR team in sourcing new products. And new, defined here, is new to the market in the last 12 months or new to the show. So we do get questions a lot about what constitutes new here, and that's what our definition is. And again, I would like to just point out that this Connect 365 in general is used year-round by buyers, by news media, and IHA staff, especially throughout the year. We use the directory to source products to use in our marketing materials. We write articles on consumer trends year-round that go on the show blog. We often include specific products that fit those trends. So this is where we're sourcing products for that. We do different social media posts. They may be seasonal type themes or trends, and we do other media outreach throughout the year. So all of those products that we use are ones that appear in your Connect 365 profile and include photos. That's an important part. A lot of it is image based. So if you have photos in there, that's a lot better chance that we will be selecting them for inclusion. The next tile here is on trade media opportunities, and we talk about a lot about consumer media who are in attendance and working with media professionals to get the word out to consumers. But trade media are also an important way that you can get your news out to buyers and the industry audience. We have here this last tile is a comprehensive list of US-based trade media outlets, but we've also pulled together a list of outlets that are specifically looking for new products to cover either in pre-show previews or in post-show wrap-ups. And we've divided it up into US-based publications or digital outlets and international ones. This is the US list, just to give you an idea. We'll have the contact person, the deadline for whatever their pre-show preview is, any criteria they have about the type of information they're looking for, as well as any specifics about submitting that information or photos to them. I also point out there's an international list here too, and we work with a lot of international trade media partners around the world. So you'll see a variety of different markets represented. I would definitely encourage you to look at these. They are especially looking for new products to share with industry people in their markets. And one note too, also on the international front, a lot of their deadlines are a little bit earlier. So I would encourage you to look at those this month. There are some deadlines that are coming out for their pre-show previews. Okay, going back to the kit. This next tile here is our online press room. And again, I mentioned we like to do things in real life, obviously in the news center, but then offer them digitally as well. So you can submit your press materials to our online press room. This can be press releases, fact sheets, images. Unlike the news center itself, the press kit area we have in the news center, which is only available to registered news media, this press room is open and accessible to anybody on our website. So again, if you have a concern about intellectual property, you might want to just focus on the news center physical kits. But this press room, it won't go live until February, but you are welcome to post now or anytime you get your materials together. There's a button here, you'll see where you can just submit. This other button next to it, we have a sample press release. If you are a smaller company or don't have a dedicated PR person, this is just an example of a short and sweet press release that you can do. That's the format that it should be in and some of the information that you might want to plug in. The next tile, also this is just a quick thing, but we do have a number of logos and branded assets that you can use in your marketing and promotion. The first is a number of inspired home show logos in different formats. We have a number of social assets here that you can use on your social channels to promote your participation in the show. It's a number of different. These are the logos for the GIA Awards. If you happen to be selected as a finalist or winner for any of those, you can use those logos. And then we also have IHA's logos. And these are available for editorial media to use, as well as any exhibitors in connection with your show participation. And then the last section here that I'd like to talk about is pitch to the media. And this is one feature that's coming. It will be a forum where exhibitors can share their stories with our show PR team. And this will not be so much focused on products, although it might have some questions about some trends that we're tracking and trying to identify products that might fit those trends. But it's more focused on, kind of backstories. It might be information about your company itself, your founders, anniversaries that you might be celebrating. Maybe you've changed directions here recently. You're introducing a new type of product line, that sort of thing. So the PR team will use these to assist media that they're working with. They'll use it when they're pitching stories. They'll use it when they're helping them put together segments on site. And just making connections with media who are looking for certain types of information. So making those connections between exhibitors and media professionals. So this will be online after the first of the year sometime. We will let you know, keep an eye on Marketing Connect for more information about when that's available and what you can submit. And just one thing I would just like to throw in here before I turn it back to Nancy is that I mentioned how this pitch to the media forum is kind of specifically used by our show PR team, but the team relies heavily on all the other resources I've talked about so far today. The press materials in our news center, in our online press room, the in-booth special events that are in Connect 365. So if you're thinking, I'm doing my own media outreach, maybe I don't need to submit press materials or I don't need to post this in Connect 365, keep that in mind that they are I kind of use the analogy of being concierges, that they're kind of experts in what exhibitors are displaying at the show, what they have going on, and the media are looking to them to help them make those connections. So the more information they have about what you're doing and what you have to promote, the more they can share that with the media professionals that they're working with.
Thank you, Rachel. That was very informative. I learned a lot. Rachel's doing a great job. She came to us last year? A year? Got a year under your belt?
I have been on staff for a year, but I've actually been involved with IHA and the show for many years. I was a member of the show PR team, as well as working on a content creation role for many years as well. So
there you have it, folks. We got a professional in the room. Thanks, Rachel. Okay, I'm going to take you guys through this pretty quickly. Booth design tips and etiquette. Okay, having a nice booth presentation is critical to getting attention from the buyers. If you have a small booth and you've brought way too many products and it looks like a flea market in there, you're not going to grab the attention of some of these big buyers. It's really important that you, again, the word plan, you plan your booth, you plan the design, you understand what it's going to look like. And I would highly suggest going in here and just reading some of it. We had a person that helped us with this many years ago. They talk about hero products and how you should be displaying your top products against maybe some shadowed products that don't get as much attention. I definitely would take a look at this and just kind of get yourself in tune with it. We talk about etiquette. You would think we all know the rules, but when you walk the show floor and you see somebody eating and not paying any attention to who's coming down the aisle, or they're reading a book, or they're asleep, you'll understand why we have etiquette in there. Exhibitor Services Kit, I know I've talked about this a few times. You can access it from here. I do want to point out there is what's called an exhibitor action checklist in here. Highly recommend that you print that out and use that. It's done by month, and it'll show you all the big operational deadlines coming up. It has all the Freeman advanced deadline dates in there. It's a very helpful tool. Please print that. EAC stands for Exhibitor Appointed Contractor. There's a whole process. If you're new to the show with a booth builder, they need to be registered with McCormick. There will be a webinar coming down the pipe on that in the next couple of weeks. That will be announced. And then this was just about an exhibitor success story and how they found a booth on like Craigslist and repurposed it. This was from the 22 show right after COVID. It's a very inspirational story. So if you feel like I want to try and do some things, very cost effectively, this is one way to do that. Just try and find out Old Booth. And on the right side of this page, oops, let me go up a little. This side of the page coming soon will be all social assets, social media. Do you want to talk a little bit?
Sure. Our digital marketing firm is working on a handbook just kind of with some social media tips and advice for promoting your show participation through your social channels. And so that is coming soon. There is a button here also that will link you to those social assets that I showed in the logo section. But the whole handbook and tips part will be coming soon.
Thank you. Okay, so GIA, we pretty much covered GIA. This, if you get in here, there's a whole brochure that outlines the categories that we judge on. There's 14 different product categories. So if you're interested in applying for GIA, and a good percentage of our exhibitor base takes advantage of this, you can get in there and read all about it. Again, Connie Chantos is your point of contact for that, but you can always call me and I will give you every answer I can possibly come up with. I do want to point out the Marketing Connect letters have started. You're getting those into your email inbox on Mondays. You're also going to get Exhibitor Connect on Tuesday. Those are two pretty important newsletters. I definitely skim them and make sure you're getting things done in terms of deadline. Marketing will start spewing out one or two different things that you should start handling, and that way you'll be good to go. Connect 365, there's a tutorial on how to populate and how to use the system. If you find that you need that, you'll find that all over the marketing kit in terms of if you want to watch that video. And we talked about the newsletter, and I think that's a wrap. Is there anything else we need to add here, Rachel, that you can think of?
I think that's good.
I think it is too. So thank you for joining us today. We really hope that you found this information helpful. Everything's important at this point. We're in the lead up to the show now. It's exciting. We're going to have a great show. We've got great buyer attendance coming. We're wishing you all a wonderful holiday season and a great houseware show. We'll see you in our travels starting January, but we'll see you in Chicago in March. And that's a wrap. Thanks, everybody.